Cool. Back at it again. Broklahomies podcast number 5. Got Nick Gathman back on the air. How are you, bro?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's good, my boys? Cool. But, yeah, man. How you been? It's been, like 2-3 weeks since the last podcast? Something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It's been around that time. I've been doing pretty well. I've just still been hanging out in Southern California, obviously, since I live out here now with my wife. And, and yeah, we just been, we working hard. Like, I've been working on the music that we mentioned last time. And, she's been working at her job. And yeah, we've just been, we've been working hard. But we're going to not be able to work hard for a little while, because coming up next week, we are going to be out of town. I don't know if she's told you about this.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, we're going to be going on a cruise. Such lavish lifestyles.
Aren't you guys going to Texas, like driving to Texas and then taking it from there?
Yeah, to the listeners out there, this might give you guys a heart attack, but we're going to... Me, her family, and her, obviously, like all of us are going to be crammed in this big-ass RV, and we're driving from Southern California to Galveston, Texas. And
that's fucking far.
Yeah, it's going to be...
How many hours is that?
Like straight through, it's at least like a day's trip, like if you were to not stop.
God. And you mean like 24 hours?
Yeah, like a full 24 hours if you were to not stop.
Fuck. Do you have like accommodations for like mid-trip or anything?
Yeah, we're leaving Wednesday evening, and the way we have it spaced out is we're going to take about 3 days to get there, so that way we don't go crazy.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we have a few stops planned along the way, depending on how far along we are. And so, yeah, we're like, we got some stops planned, and we all have our own designated sleep areas in the RV. And so
that's fucking dope. Wait, whose RV is that? Are you just renting it out?
It's her family's. I'm not sure.
You guys own an RV?
Yeah, her mom and dad, I can't remember. I don't know how long they've had it, but it's only been a few years, I think. But they've had this RV, and they use on these kind of trips, like for road trips. And so yeah, we're all going to be crammed in this RV for a few days there and back. And so it's going to be an interesting trip, but we're all going to have like plenty of movies and video games and music to keep us all busy and stuff.
So I'm assuming that the RV actually just doubled as Christy's room as she was growing up, and that's why she's so wacko.
Not quite. No, she's just wonderful the way she is. But no, it actually it doubled as my room actually. Whenever we were still in the dating phase before we got engaged.
I gotcha.
Yeah, in 2016 I came out to visit for the first time, and that's where I slept. I slept in the RV, and it was nice.
Wait. How was it when okay, so we talked about like how it's like living there. Mm-hmm. I assume that whenever you visited that area for the first time, oh my gosh, there's notifications.
I heard that. When I was talking to me.
Ping! It's not you, not this time.
I'm the one that gets your center of attention.
Oh. But dude, was it? So there's what was it? Train of thought. Oh yeah, whenever you first came to California to like visit, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's one of the things that affected your decision to move out here. I mean, obviously, besides like the marriage, but like what was it like whenever you first came in? Like, can you think back to that time without reflecting on your time now?
Of course, yeah. Back in 2016, when I first came out here, it was my first time coming out to California in 6 or 7 years. The last time I'd come out here was in like 2009 or 2010 to see some of my family, my dad and my grandma Judy. And so this time it was awesome because I had never gotten to see. I'd never gotten to actually see Anaheim or Orange or Irvine or any of those kind of places. And so
they're gonna say see people at all.
Yeah, no,
it was just so fucking empty.
The last time I was at California before then, no, there was just no people. but yeah, it was. I remember it vividly because, being in Oklahoma for so long, I distinctly remember smelling the ocean like as soon as I landed because it's just my nose was used to the Oklahoma air.
Yeah.
And so it was a really fun time. I really enjoyed visiting both times before I actually moved out here. And so yeah, they took me in. I stayed at their house for a week or so with each. Mm-hmm. To clarify, I came out in 2016 and 2017 in the summer, both times.
You came out twice before that? Before like moving over here?
Yeah, I came out in 2016 and then I came out at the end of summer in 2017 because
always knew you were gay though.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Very deep down. No, I'm kidding.
I had to come out twice. I was so gay.
Exactly.
No.
I'm double gay. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, they took me in and I stayed at their house for a few weeks at a time, and it was really fun because they took me around. They showed me Disneyland. I got to meet Chris's friends. Got to hang out with their family, and it was just a really fun time. And it's an interesting time to look back on because of, like you said, because of where I am now.
It's like, fuck, I'm actually living at the place that I was like enamored by. You're like, oh fuck, I wish I could live in Paris, and like now you are kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the best word I think of that would describe my view towards coming out to Southern California, because I can't remember if I mentioned last time.
Enamored?
Yeah, enamored. So I can't because that was kind of what it was. Like I didn't quite fully understand the culture of Southern California to the extent that I do now. And so
I still don't understand it because I'm not living there, so I'm just kind of, whenever I went there, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, you're up there in NorCal.
There's even more homeless people here.
Yeah, it's there's a lot.
Except for San Francisco. Just San Francisco, like the homeless population density is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Everyone's on opiates. Like everyone.
Oh man.
Like all of the homeless people.
Ew.
Like you just see like needles fucking left and right. And it's gotten so bad to the point, Nick, where they actually have disposal bins in designated bathrooms throughout San Francisco. It's like the city requires it.
Oh my gosh.
It's fucking
like
gross.
to accommodate it.
I saw something earlier about they're trying to push some like local legislation saying that in certain areas of the city, people can go to legally use heroin.
Oh wow!
It's oriented towards homeless people because the logic is that if people that are homeless are gonna do heroin anyways, then why not have them do it in a safer place where they won't die in the street or like be exposed to the elements. Mm-hmm. Although that's understandable, it sounds kind of whack to like just like to let people do heroin. It sounds even more whack that it's like it's also kind of unfair too. It's like, fuck, I want to do heroin.
No, you don't, Tyler. You don't want to do heroin.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to do heroin. But it's like it seems kind of whack. It's like, what if someone's like super like gung ho about doing heroin, but they're like, fuck, but I don't want to like go against the law. Mm-hmm. Fuck. And then you see this poster that's like, homeless people come to the homeless shelter to get this, and it's like, oh fuck, I'm gonna dispossess myself just so that I can use opiates.
Yeah, that's kind of a sticky situation because on one hand, I feel like I could lean towards that, like I feel like it could make a positive impact in that it seems to be taking a more empathetic approach to finding a solution. So when I say it, I mean like state government and state legislation. Like it's taking a bit more of an empathetic approach to the people in those situations to try and help them get better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't know the complete legislation, but it does seem that there's potential for abuse of that system. I mean, as there is with any new law.
Yeah, it seems a little back asswards, huh?
Yeah.
Like it's just like
I like that.
It's kind of, it's a little strange, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like to clarify, I think that like the legalization of drugs, that's something that I think we should experiment with because the war on drugs in the U.S. hasn't been like super great. Legalization of weed has been phenomenal for all the states that have legalized it. I mean, it's had no problems. The cartels and I don't know if it's cartels, but like the gangs that were like selling weed, a lot of them are like dissipating. Some people don't like the idea of gentrification. I think it's personally, I think gentrification is all right. I think it's a pretty good thing. And it's made places like Oakland up here in the Bay Area a lot safer. I think the weed and like legalizing it was a big step in that, which that also makes sense. Like I think people like leadership in Oakland also think the same way because they just passed legislation in Oakland to decriminalize shrooms. Which we had a conversation about this. We had a conversation about the legalization of shrooms.
I do think it's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and I think that might have been prompted by like the positive effects of legalizing weed. But I think you should be pretty careful about like how you go legalizing all these different drugs. But apparently, like it is really helpful though because, for example, I think it was Portugal. I should ask Danny this, and I'll have Danny confirm this in like a different podcast. But in Portugal, they legalized all, if not like the majority of drugs.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then like it decreased the amount of addiction that was coming about because of like addiction to drugs. And so I thought that was pretty crazy. And
didn't the crime rate drop down too? Like because, or not the like the incarceration percentage because of like
I'm sure, yeah,
like it decreased that because that was a lot of where incarceration was happening was because of illegal drugs.
Yeah, it's for like a lot of times it's like petty drug dealing and stuff like that. You know, like let's say you're trying to make enough money to go to college, so like you're working like a night shift at a bar. And then you sell like just shrooms in the down low or something that you just picked out of someone's yard, you know? And like you're just like trying to make like some extra money on the side. And like you get in trouble for that kind of shit. And then you end up going to prison instead. It's like, why are you going to prison for like, just selling some fucking like Mario mushrooms that like you just found in the middle of fucking buttfuck nowhere, right?
Yeah,
it sounds kind of like stupid. It's like it's just like out of the It's not normal.
Well, yeah, I am kind of in agreement on that because looking at it from an outside perspective, we'll just use mushrooms as an example. Mushrooms do grow naturally in nature. They grow out of duty, and so
psilocybin mushrooms that we're talking about.
Yeah, psilocybin, the Mario mushrooms, as you said. But yeah, it's interesting. Like since I've gotten older, and in regards to these illegal drugs like cannabis and mushrooms and stuff, it is interesting to me that these substances, while they do have the potential for abuse, just with as any substance does, like coffee, energy drinks, weed and stuff. But it's interesting that these substances which grow naturally in nature, that's kind of redundant,
right?
It's interesting how they've been made
like prohibited.
Yeah, they've been prohibited for recreational
use. How dare you interact with nature? How fucking dare you?
Exactly. And and as I've gotten older, I've taken the kind of stance in that people are people, and people are just gonna do what do what they want regardless of the law, and if they want to use a substance recreationally and to the going back to heroin, if they want to like do that and potentially exactly, they have the choice to ruin their life if they want
dumbasses,
to.
But they should be able to, right?
Yeah, because it's
like they should have that right.
Exactly, because it's not anyone's business to tell them what to do if it's not harming anybody else besides themselves.
Yeah, like even like for example, like this is what I think. Like I'm not saying that like disclaimer. I think that like any sort of racial supremacy is like really shitty, right?
Whoa.
But let's say like
thrown out of left field.
No, but it's just like it's just but like here's an example is that like I think that you shouldn't do heroin, and you shouldn't be a Filipino supremacist. I don't think they should be any sort of supremacist. So like let's say that you're like a Filipino, you think Filipinos are the superior race, and so you're in California and you like preach Filipino supremacy. As long as you're not hurting anybody, I think that's fine. Like you can talk about Filipino supremacy if you fucking want.
Because that's somebody's opinion, or it could be somebody's opinion.
Yeah, it's just freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Like I think that it's a right that should the drug system, or like the view on drugs and how drugs are in relation with legislation in the U.S. should be, in my opinion, the way that we look at how people's words are in relation with the law, which is that as long as you're not hurting anybody else, it's okay. You know?
Exactly, because it's nobody else's business.
Like, what if like I just want to like pick fucking mushrooms, dry them out, like just like grind this shit down in like one of those like pasta thingies, like, and then just like make like a truffle salt, like a truffle salt out of like psilocybin mushrooms, where like you're like fucking like putting that shit on like a hard-boiled egg or something. You eat that hard-boiled egg with that mushroom salt on it, and then you just go for like a fucking trip to outer space. You ride like a fucking like egg-shaped rocket ship all the way to outer space,
and
you're just like and you see like the chicken that was to be born out of the egg, and you have like some sort of like happy experience with the chicken. You become friends with the chicken. And then you become a vegan after that or something. Like, well, that'd be fucking fun,
And if you want, that is quite the story. And if you want to do that in your own home, then, I mean, in my opinion, that's fine, because it's none of my business, but
exactly,
I'm under the opinion that, going back to what we said, if someone wants to do that in their own home, then that's their prerogative,
Yeah, that's exactly that's their thing.
That's just my
problem right now has been, so I've had a recent trend, like this is kind of like way different topic, but did I tell you about like my diet and like what I'm doing right now?
No, I don't think so. Nope.
Okay, so my dad, which is what you would call the American consumer. He has the American consumer build. And the thing is, like, he's a little bit overweight, and he's been trying to lose weight for a long time. And he's had success with it.
That's good.
Using the keto diet. It was really great. He was really happy about it. He was feeling better. And I was like, damn, well, my dad's fucking kicking ass right now with this keto diet. I should put myself in his shoes and see how it'd feel like. Now, I didn't think about like losing weight because I'm already pretty like tall.
Yeah,
skinny.
you're already pretty thin. Looking good.
Yeah.
Looking fly.
But the thing, yeah. But what I want to do is like I'm like tall and skinny, and I didn't feel like I had like a need to do it except to like understand what people go through with keto. But I was like, fuck it, let's try it. Let's try it for a month. And so I think on the 18th of last month, so 18th of June, I decided to start the keto diet, and I did, right? And
did you have a goal for yourself?
Hard,
did
man.
you? I mean, on that, yeah.
Month. It was a month.
Nice.
It was a month. I was gonna do it for a month. My goal was to do the keto diet for a month, and then I was going to decide at the month point what I was gonna do after that, right? And so it was gonna be from June 18th to July 18th. And so I started the keto diet. And man, it was fucking hard, man. Like beginning, it was like so hard. I was having mostly just like beef and then salad, like beef and salad. That's basically all I had.
Meat and green. Meat and green.
Yeah, Exactly. No fucking carbohydrates of any sort. I think the closest thing resembling carbohydrates right now that I'm having, like in my diet regularly, is a fucking sugar-free Red Bull, and I'll have that like once in a while whenever I'm like tired, like right now, right?
Yeah.
And so like I started this keto diet, and it was like hard as fuck. I'm like trudging through it, and then eventually my body got accustomed to it, and I feel really fucking good doing this diet. Like there's just like people that do keto talk about this like mental clarity that you get from doing keto. And the first 3 days, like my stomach was hurting, like I couldn't think for shit. So I was like, nah, that's bullshit. Like it doesn't happen. Like if it works, it doesn't work for me, right? Is what I thought. But then I went on for like another week, and I felt fucking great. And so I did that, and I was like, whoa, crap! Like I haven't tried like doing these kinds of diets before. What else can I do? And I looked up this. I found this thing of is it bulletproof intermittent fasting, which is spoiler alert, Joe Rogan podcast.
There you go.
Is fucking I listen to it all the time. But what was it? So what you do is like you mix butter and this thing called MCT oil that you can just get at like any Whole Foods, Sprouts, or anywhere where there's fucking hippies. And then you mix that in with your coffee, and then you have that for breakfast. Then you don't eat for like another 6, 7, 8 hours, something like that.
It's supposed to make you feel satiated and full for longer. Yeah,
exactly. It's supposed to make you feel full without actually consuming like food. And I started that like in like midway through the keto, like the keto month that I had planned out for myself. And I felt like shit for like the first 2 days. Again, felt like shit for the first 2 days. And then I got so used to it that I felt great.
That's just how the body does. The human body is really amazing. It will adapt to just about any situation, like good or bad. You know, it's an amazing evolutionary kind of progression. And so, but I'm glad to hear that the keto diet's been doing you well, Tyler, because that's kind of the experience that Chris and I and her family had whenever we first heard about it last year. We did it. We were pretty strict on it last summer, and you know, we were doing really well. We were making sure that we weren't eating too much. We were intermittent fasting, making sure we were coming up with these crazy, creative, keto-friendly recipes to cook with, and it was great. But then, like life got kind of busy, and so it kind of fell out of fashion. But lately, this month, we've been really, like Chris and I have been really trying to get back on like something similar to it.
Some diet, yeah.
And I've been feeling a lot better. She's been doing it a few months longer than I have, I should clarify. But like you, I set a like this month as a goal of mine to get back into a healthier like diet, a healthier routine of exercise. And it's been great. It really changes your perspective in regards to food itself, because since the diet forces you to only have like essentially what is good for you, you know, it really helps and gives you incentive to look at food as fuel for your body rather than for mouth pleasure. And well, I mean, that's what it is. You know, you don't eat candy for how nutritious it is. You eat candy because it tastes good. The oral delight, exactly. Because it's nice on your tongue. And so yeah, that to say that's been our experience as well. And so I'm glad that it's helped you out.
What diet is Christy doing right now?
Well, it's kind of it's keto based, but she's found her own rhythm that she has been adhering to, in that she's keeping track of not only what she eats in terms of like healthy to not healthy ratio, but also like how much she eats, which is also what I have picked up for the last few weeks. And so like the basis of her diet is she allows herself, or she's very strict during the work week. So like Monday through Friday, she's very strict and limits how much she consumes and make sure that everything is relatively healthy, like if she can help it. And then on the weekends, she's decided that she's going to allow herself to have a sweet or two, because the weekends are supposed to be relaxation days away from work, and so.
And she's actually doing like a version of keto, right?
Exactly. It's kind of it's based around it.
Does she feel bad whenever, like, not bad like mentally, but like physically bad whenever she has sweets and stuff with carbohydrates in it? Because that's one of the big concerns with keto, is that whenever you get off of it, or you exit ketosis, which is like whenever you burn ketones, which comes from fat. I'm not sure the entire process, but whenever you get off of ketosis, you feel like shit.
It is. I can't speak for her because I would know exactly how she would say it. But yeah, in short, if she has something sweet or something really starchy, then yeah, she feels like crap for the remainder of the day because of how heavy it is. I can speak from my own experiences, like just right now. Since I've been doing intermittent fasting and really trying to stick with this diet for the past month, I've noticed that my mental clarity has been a little bit better. I've been able to exercise a bit better, and I've just been able to feel and look better. But like today, for you listeners out there, you might have a heart attack with this as well. But it was out of my decision. I did have some McDonald's for the first time in a while, just because I know it is so bad for me, but it's so delicious. I know, shame.
Dude, it's just fucking. Whenever I see Ronald McDonald's V-shaped build, it just calls me over. That's
the CrossFit Ronald McDonald. If you eat McDonald's every day and train like
you'll get big as fuck. Yeah,
you can look like me. But
you'll look like a manta ray. You'll just be fucking wide as fuck.
But I digress. And so yeah, I am out of ketosis, and I do feel heavier. I do feel worse because it's that it's the way the carbs and sugar especially interact with your body, because it's not fuel. Getting back to that portion of the topic, if all you're doing is eating junk food, candy, pie, cake, stuff that isn't good for you, your body, like I said, will adapt, because that's just what it does. And then whenever you try to change that, it's going to have withdrawals because it's changing up the norm. And so that's why it's whenever people go on this diet, it's pretty hard for the first few days or a week. And so
still hard.
I know.
Still hard.
It's tough. That's kind of why it fell out of fashion with, excuse me, almost belched. That's why I kind of fell out of fashion with me, was because, it can be difficult to try and maintain such a healthy lifestyle. Because it's kind
of fun though, isn't it?
It is fun.
Is that just me? Well, I think it's kind of fun.
It's fun in the regard that it's like, it makes you think differently. It's like, it's like, I'm not going to allow myself to have this like super tasty thing that's bad for me. And so I have to kind of think of creative ways to maybe simulate the experience that I would have with a real greasy burger or
a way to compensate for it.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can do that, or the more you do that, then the easier the diet will become, because then your body becomes accustomed to that. Instead of having a super greasy ground beef burger, you could have a turkey burger with spinach,
Yeah, exactly. Like it's 100%. Like when you say like turkey burger, like you have it with like with a regular bun and stuff, or is that just an example?
Yeah. I mean, if everything else, like me personally, since we're on the topic of that, if I have a turkey burger and everything within the sandwich is healthy, like, turkey, spinach, a really nice cheese, then I'll allow myself to have, just some regular bread, because if that bread is going to be the only carb that I have that day, then it's not going to be so bad because I'll be able to burn that off with exercise.
It's not. Which I think, personally, what I think is, okay, so out of every single diet that I've done, I think the best balance between fun or like effectiveness for losing weight and maintaining weight, for losing weight and eating good food was low carb. Low carb. I accidentally stumbled into it. Like I accidentally started doing the low carb diet and I lost like 12 pounds.
That's exactly what it is, because the food pyramid is upside down. There's they say that in the Keto documentary. And because yes, there are really good carbs that you need to have, but not
sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes are really good,
right,
but
they're huge right now.
But the more
brown rice,
exactly, those are good carbs. Those are healthy and really good carbs for your body to metabolize. But with the more starchy stuff like white rice and regular potatoes, I don't know the name of them. That's why I call them regular. But
there's potatoes.
Yeah. And so spuds. And so if that's the main like facet of your diet, of course you're going to gain weight, because that's going to, like, it's I got too many things I want to say. It's good for survival stuff. Like if you're in a situation where,
if you're the starving fucking Irish before the blight and you need like a bunch of food to feed the masses, then potatoes are fucking
exactly
fantastic.
Potatoes are great because they are good for you, and they can help sustain you for a longer period of time, just by themselves, versus eating pounds and pounds and pounds of spinach or lettuce.
Yeah, and a lot of times those are just, it's really easy to produce, like, it's like the amount of work and like time and resources invested into making it per calorie count is just really efficient a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like grains and rice and potatoes are very, have a very good calorie to like resource ratio, like resources invested ratio.
Yeah.
Now the output is really good, and I think that's the reason why. Like I personally think that like the food pyramid. I'm not sure if like if there was like a conscious effort at all to make that, and like what the motivations were, or like people just believe that that's how you should eat. I'm talking about the classic food pyramid where you have like a bunch of carbs and starch.
Oh, that's all like the food industry's brainwashing.
Yeah, I exactly. That's what I think it might be. It like might be like some lobbying, some bullshit.
I was about to say, yeah, exactly. I think the Keto documentary talks about it a little bit, but yeah, like back in.
I haven't seen the Keto documentary.
It's really interesting. I highly recommend that you see it, because it really. I highly recommend that anybody watches it. Not necessarily like for keto advocacy.
People who want to do keto, yeah.
Not necessarily just for that, but just for nutritional knowledge in general. Because like to go off on a side note, when Chris and I first watched that,
is it specifically about the keto diet, or just to clarify?
It's the main. Yeah, it is specifically about the keto diet, but the keto diet as a concept is the main vehicle to help spread better nutritional knowledge. Like there's a moment in this documentary where they take.
So that's my Bible.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
that's my Bible. And the director is my Jesus.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Oh my gosh. And so there's a moment in this documentary that has stuck with me more than like any other moment from this. And the people that are talking like at this point in the doc, they take the food pyramid and with like motion graphics, they flip it upside down and they explain why the food pyramid is incorrect. And I mean, the main reason for the incorrect food pyramid is because of the food industry, because of the sugar lobbying, because of the carb lobbying, you know, because that's what makes the most money. It's the cheapest and most efficient way to you know, to produce these foods, because that's what people will crave. They crave the tasty stuff. It has the best return of investment. Exactly. Because it makes the most money.
And before we had the fucking internet to like give out this kind of information, like spread the keto diet and stuff like that, you didn't fucking know what was good for you. You just like, I eat this and it fucking tastes good. It's like hamburgers taste good. Fucking big secret, you know? And I think it's just kind of like this, like, have you seen that one, what's it called? Like, there's that one show where you switch the wives in a household for a month or like a week or something.
I feel like I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name of it, unfortunately.
There's one where there's this kid where like he's like complaining whenever they switch the mothers in his household, and his like new mother for a week was like, okay, you're gonna have to eat this salad. And he was like, "Where's my bacon? Bacon is good for me." You know? Or like,
I know what you're talking about. Is that the little kid?
And he's like eating chicken nuggets.
The little kid that like goes into his room and starts packing.
Yeah. The one he goes out for like a fucking journey. Like, where are you gonna go? Are you gonna be back in like a couple minutes?
That's a classic. That's a classic video.
Yeah. But like, he's like, chicken, like nuggets are good for me. Like bacon is good for me. I eat chicken nuggets all the time. And the thing is, it's kind of like this idea of like whatever tastes good is what's good for you, and that was probably the notion that people had before. You know,
before this vast knowledge of internet came by.
Yeah, it's just it's being reversed right now because of the internet, like you just said. So it's really interesting, especially like imagine this, like right now it's like commonplace that salads are good for you. Right? Or like they're seen as good for you. Sometimes like, you know, you could fuck up a salad.
Yeah, like if you put a bunch of ranch and you know, Thousand Island dressing on there, then it's not really defeating the purpose.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you know, it's like that wouldn't have flow. Like people have been like, why the fuck are you eating a salad? Like years ago, you know, like that. Like they wouldn't have been like a healthy thing to eat. It would have just been like one of the things that you should maybe eat.
It wasn't viewed as just like socially accepted as nutritional or healthy, because it's like, why are you eating fucking leaves like a damn animal? You know? Yeah, when you can just eat fucking bread. Bread is so much more filling and it tastes better too. Why the fuck are you doing that? That's my food's food. I don't appreciate you eating my food's food, you know? And so but getting back to the topic, you know,
have you seen that video? One thing. Like, have you seen that video of the guy who's the anti-vegan or the anti-vegetarian, where he just eats meat?
I don't think so. Does he like tear into raw meat or something?
No, like the whole thing is like, you know how like a lot of times, like not all vegans, but you know, like some vegans are kind of like carnivorously vegan, where they'll like try to spread the gospel of veganism to just like regular people that just are minding their own business. Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's where the stigma comes from, is the vegan evangelists. Yeah, carnivorous vegans are what I call them, because they're like fucking predators. But they're also vegans, which is hilarious. Right? But and there was one scene where like the guy holds up broccoli and he's like, "This is broccoli. This is my food's food. I don't appreciate you eating my food's food." And he's just like, he has like a fucking like a sash over his chest. It's like a wiener schnitzel or something like that. It was fucking hilarious. Silly. It's a great video.
It's too bad we're not on the Joe Rogan podcast. We could have Jamie pull it up.
Oh my god.
But getting back to the topic, like you said, the kind of universal viewpoint on food, like a generation or two ago, was if it tastes good, then it must be good. And so that's what's so hard about kicking this kind of the habit, is that you have to rethink and change your mindset towards food, because you know, a lot of good food that is great for you might not have the amazing taste as burgers or fried chicken. You know, that's the biggest thing for me is that, like, you know, being a Southern boy, I have to avoid. I have to avoid a lot of stuff like fried chicken, a lot of mashed potatoes.
Especially. I love Popeyes.
There's so much delicious Southern comfort food that I can't have, or I can only have in small doses occasionally.
That's gotta be hard.
It is. It's tough because
sounds hard.
like one of my favorite meal ever is homemade chicken and dumplings made by my grandma, and all that is you know, dough, or like cooked dough, your spices, and boiled chicken. And it's fucking delicious. It is the most delicious thing.
Sinfully delicious.
It is. It's very sinfully delicious. It's great comfort food. You feel amazing in the moment, and then you feel really tired.
When you're eating it.
You know, but it's tough.
So good.
You know, and so you have to not necessarily give it up because, you know, like life, you only get one life, so might as well live a little. But you have to.
Yeah, you just eat something good once.
Because you don't want to like shoot yourself in the foot, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's really what I'm trying to say is that's why it's so tough. Is because we have all this amazing comfort food that isn't good for us, that we have to avoid, you know, and people don't want to give that up. And if they're fine with that, then, you know, going full circle, that's their prerogative. But if they really want to change the way, if they want to be somebody that lives a healthy lifestyle and eats a healthy diet, then they have to change their mindset, you know? And it's tough.
Yeah.
I really do empathize with everyone in that kind of situation because I'm right there with them.
Bro, it's like
you, I think
it's having a quit thing.
Yeah. Last podcast, I think you said or not the last podcast, the last time Chris and I were on here, you said that you had to give up ramen because of you can't have gluten.
Dude, dude, fucking ramen and gyoza.
Mm-hmm.
Gyoza is still to this day my favorite food. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite food of all time. And just giving it up was just it's still painful. Mm-hmm. I saw like a picture of it today and I was like, oh my love.
I know. The other day I was like I was intermittent fasting, waiting for like dinner. I was just going around the house here and sniffing delicious but sugary things like orange juice. Of all things,
you just went and like just
honestly,
sniffed it, like you opened the bottle.
I was trying my best because I'm really trying this month to avoid as much sugar as I can, and so I go and I just sniff the orange juice that we have in the house. And Chris's mom is like, "Are you sniffing the orange juice?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm avoiding sugar, and this is all I can do."
What is she? How does she react?
She just laughed. Thought it was amusing. That's
gotta be the most adorable thing that she could probably find in the kitchen is just like you sniffing orange juice. Like, I'm sad that I can't have it. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Fucking the biggest thing that changed my life in terms of like consuming things is my gluten intolerance.
Yeah. Right? Because the keto diet for me is by choice. Like the gluten intolerance for you is something you have to live with.
Yeah, exactly. Same with me. The keto diet is my choice. But dude, soy sauce has gluten in it.
Oh no! I had no idea.
Wherever I go, and the thing is here, like every single Chinese dish that you can find has soy sauce in it. And so, like, you have to make it a specific way in order for it to be gluten friendly. And whenever you go to like a place that makes something gluten friendly, you're not eating Chinese food anymore. You're eating Californian food. No,
exactly. You're eating the California, not even Americanized version, but the Californianized version of Chinese food. And Chinese food is fucking delicious. Like, Chris showed me this shumai place back in back in Oklahoma City.
Shumais are so
and
good.
I had no idea this kind of stuff existed.
Is it Fung's Kitchen?
Fung's Kitchen, yes. It's
oh, dude, fucking that place is the best Chinese food in OKC.
So good,
hands down. The fucking dim sum over there is
dim
amazing.
sum. Yeah, dim sum is. Oh my gosh, dude! You have to like. It's not Chinese food, dim sum, if you don't have soy sauce, and it's. Oh my gosh, it's so tough because
it's so fucking good. Mm-hmm. It's so fucking good. Like those are the kind of meals that I will actually, because I'm like allergic to gluten. Basically, I have an intolerance to gluten, right? Mm-hmm. I'm doing keto, so if I have anything gluten, I'll get extra fucked. But I will sacrifice an entire day to go eat like a big dim sum meal. You know, I'll do it. I'll fucking, that's like a swan dive right into fucking lava for me, but I'll fucking do it. Like, you know, I'll just sacrifice the whole day. I haven't cheated on keto, not once, by the way. Like for a month.
That's awesome, dude. Keep it up. Like,
fucking
do it.
Hard.
I cheated on keto like just now because I had McDonald's, but I'm gonna get back on it tomorrow, and finish out the month strong. As much as I can, because I'm about to go on a cruise, so there's going to be lots of delicious food that I must not avoid because it'll be good. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is it like buffet style too?
The stuff on the cruise?
Yeah.
Yeah, lunches are kind of buffet style, but dinners are predetermined. But I mean, on a side note, I'm really looking forward to this really, really good Indian food that's always on a Carnival cruise. There's this like one of the lunch restaurants that you can go to is called Tandoor, and it's this delicious like really creamy and fall off the bone tender like curry. It's so good.
I love
it. Is so good,
dude. The Bay Area, actually, this is like little known fact, people that are outside of the Bay Area, there's a shitload of Indians and Pakistanis here. And so the curry here is competitive as fuck. It's so good. It's so good. Like I Korean food is better in LA because there's lots of Koreans. I would be willing to bet that the Indian food here is even better than in LA. Like, dude, whenever you come back, because you guys are coming the 13th to the 15th of September, right?
Yeah, like second week of September, 13th through the 15th.
We'll get curry.
Awesome.
We'll get curry.
I love curry.
We'll get curry. I'll take you to like the places that like I know are good too that I've been to. Mm-hmm. Hell, dude, I have this friend from Sri Lanka that has an Indian curry joint, and his food is fantastic. Indians go in all the time. They know he's from Sri Lanka, and they're like, it's like. For them, it's kind of like they go in there and they have to like forfeit their religion almost. It's like, oh, fuck. I know you're from Sri Lanka. You're not actually from India. But your food is fucking excellent, so I'm going to come here. You know, it's really funny. They're like, it's like going against their like their native homeland, but they just can't deny the fact that it's really fucking good.
I'm sure that people have wrestled with that with lots of different restaurants. Like if I were to find a really, really good, like an amazing pulled pork restaurant out here, then it would be really tough for me to accept how amazing that pulled pork would be because it's not directly from the South, like in Oklahoma or Texas or Louisiana, or Mississippi. And so it's tough. I have a friend, Chris and I have a friend. I think you've met them before. I can't remember, but
yeah, dude, you just reminded me of something.
Go for it.
I have a barbecue tomorrow to go to. He's making dry rub ribs. Oh fuck!
Nice.
I'm gonna eat. That's keto. That's keto compliant.
Yep.
Damn. Okay, I just needed to say that. You just made me really happy because I just remembered something. Otherwise, I would have forgotten it.
Well, there you go. I'm happy to help you in your journey. Remind you of the important things you got to eat.
Important things in life, yeah.
But yeah, we have Chris and I have this mutual friend. I grew up with this friend, and I love her to death. But she's very prideful in her Southern food culture, and she'll. I love her to death, and she'll actively like critique and put down various like Southern style food if we happen to go to a place that like say we haven't been before or wanted to try, and she's like, no, this isn't authentic stuff. And like, you know, I'm right there with her in certain circumstances because like
she's like a picky French chef. She's like, this French food is not compliant with French cuisine.
Exactly.
Like starts like spitting.
Exactly. You know, like Chris.
You call this butter?
You call this a roll? You call this pulled pork? Exactly. And I get it because, you know, there is some truth to certain foods being the best or tasting best from like where they originated. It's like I don't know how else to explain.
People don't realize how hard it is to make like grill or smoke good meat.
It takes dedication.
People don't fucking realize.
There's a pulled pork place in it's my town in Henrietta. There's a town about 20 minutes north of there, and it has there's a pulled pork place. It's really tiny, and
there's pulled pork sandwiches.
Yeah, pulled pork sandwiches is like their specialty, and the dude that runs the restaurant, like, he'll be up at like from midnight to like 5 a.m, making sure that his smoked pork is like up to par. Like he is so dedicated to his craft, and it shows because his food is fucking delicious, you know. And it's true. Like it does take a lot of like time and dedication to make really good smoked meat, you know. One of my cousins that went to the church that I grew up in, that was one of his specialties. Like it was always a treat to have him smoke really nice ham, smoke me. Little.
No. But dude, fucking like it's so specific, you know, because like you got to use like what, like mesquite or birch or like different kinds of wood, and the oils and the smoke, or there's like sugars that are released from the smoke, and that like becomes like part of the meat whenever you smoke it and stuff like that. My dad's into smoking meat. He has his own smoker too. Damn, dude. Like it's really particular. Like I could see someone like from the South going to California and be like, and like trying one of those kind of like a brisket joint or something, and being like, "What the fuck did you smoke this shit with? Jet fuel?" You know, like I could see something like that happening, transpiring over in California.
And that's why, like, I mean, just about everywhere. That's why, you know, you have the people that are like, "This is not authentic food from this place," because if you're not from the area and you didn't grow, like it's not enough to like look up a recipe and read all about a way to prepare something. Like there are specific nuances to certain recipes that get passed down family to family, you know, that you just don't get anywhere else if you're not from the area.
Certainly not over here.
You know,
certainly
that's
not
why
over here in this area,
that's why certain, like, that's why family restaurants are a thing, is because that particular family might have a long lineage of great cooks, and so they just keep passing it down and like perfecting their own niche. And so you know, you can't, I don't know, you can't mass produce quality, or
at least it's really hard to. And like the more that you produce, the harder it gets to maintain that quality. You know, and yeah, I totally see your point. There's like a balance, right? Like you gotta, like, the more your output goes up, the more you start to cut corners and shit. It's like, we're not gonna, yeah. And I think that's actually a really good thing about like the Midwest and the South, is that things that your grandma, your grandpa, your great-grandma, your great-grandpa made are things that will be passed down for generations to come, and they will be. It's like things that you're prideful over. It's like, oh, you know, like it's not even like just within your family too. Sometimes It's like in your neighborhood, like everyone around the neighborhood will know that you guys make the best X, or like that family makes the best X, right? Mm-hmm. Like my great grandma used to make the best pineapple apricot preserves. She's actually in California before she died, but I think she was raised in. She wasn't raised there. Like she was raised in like Middle America somewhere. Yeah. I don't remember exactly where. And she learned how to make these fantastic pineapple apricot preserves. And that then she moved out to California, and yeah, dude, it was fucking delicious. We just call it Grandma's Gold because it was just like this golden color, and then you just put it on bread, and the fucking it was fantastic, dude. It was actually one day for me. If I ever get rich, it will be worth its value in gold.
In Grandma's Gold,
like it's just like to like I would pay like a gold ingot, like the same size and weight of like a jar of Grandma's Gold in order to get it like sometime in the future, because it's just I'm not gonna get that anymore. It wasn't like my dad knows like the recipe, but he doesn't know how to make it. So that, like we don't have it. That died. That's a recipe that died. Mm-hmm. You know? Exactly.
Like I mean, back, you know, same thing with my grandma's chicken and dumplings. Like that recipe, and there are a few others that like I asked my family for because I want to like preserve it. You know, my mom has kind of taken over the reins to make the chicken and dumplings now, because my grandma's gotten to a point where she can't really cook anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, but she's still kicking. Like she's still got plenty of life left. She's
good. She's just retired from cooking.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, which is unfortunate, but she's still got plenty of spirit, and I love her to death. And you know, she's good, and she's got plenty of help too, which is good around the house. And so yeah, my mom has kind of taken over the reins there, and my aunt, you know, my aunt's a really, really good cook too, and so she has lots of great recipes that I want in the future.
Awesome. Dude, the like your mom's Instagram page fucking killed me. Is Knuckles the Echidna? Mm-hmm. It's just like her profile picture is Knuckles. I thought that was hilarious, by the way.
That's big.
I saw it and I was like, who the heck is that? And like I see this message like, oh, that's my son. I was like, oh shit, are you Miss Gathman? Holy shit.
Yeah, Knuckles the Echidna is my mom's favorite Sonic character.
Dude, that was so funny. Like I was like, oh, dude. Like I didn't know that was her.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
She's so supportive of you. Like she's so lovely. Like she's always like commenting on stuff. Like yay, I'm like rooting for you. And stuff.
I know. I love my mom to death. She's the best muddy mother. She's the best muddy.
That's awesome. Dude, does she listen to this podcast?
Yeah,
she does.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Hi, Mom.
Does she? Hey. Just like wave at her. She can't see you. But.
She can't see me.
Like John
I'm nowhere near her.
Oh.
Well, she's in Oklahoma. Exactly.
In California.
Living it up.
Yeah, man. All right. Do you think we should wrap this podcast up?
Hey, yeah, man. I've had a great time talking with you. You know, we just talked about food all the time. I love talking about food.
Me too. It's probably because I'm hungry as fuck right now, too. Like, on my side, at least. Because I haven't had food for
What do you mean your side? We're in the same time zone.
No, as in like my side of the conversation. Like I kept bringing up food because I haven't eaten in like 11 hours. Actually, I haven't. It's been 11 hours since I've had the bulletproof coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been like...
Oh, that's another thing that...
21 hours since I've eaten food.
Oh, man. Hey, keep it going. Make it a full 24. You can do it.
It'll be about 24 before I actually get food because I have to go home. I'm at work right now still.
Mm. That's what I did. Like whenever I was, like, to say something real quick, whenever I was really like doing well in the keto diet, I think the longest I went without food was like a day and a half. And I was like, dang, that is really cool, but I'm fucking starving.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, It's funny too because like you're on it and then you start forgetting that you're hungry. And then like your body will send out like a panic attack, like, oh, dude, fucking eat food now.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like it's exactly a panic attack. You're totally fine, and then it's like from 0 to 100, and it's like eat now or I will eat myself.
Yeah, that's legit what happens to your body. It's like eat now or I will eat myself. That's legit that's what your body does to you. It just starts eating itself. Ah, that's funny. All right, man. Nick Gathman, always a pleasure.
Tyler Alm, it is always a pleasure as well.
It was nice talking to you. Any last words?
Eat well, and don't forget to enjoy what you eat.
Because you are what you eat, right?
Because you are what you eat. You know, if you eat healthy, then that's great. But don't let that become your identity. You can enjoy to indulge, because you know life is fleeting, and it's no sense in putting so much pressure on yourself.
Delicious last words from Nicholas. All right, cool, man. It's fucking dope having you. You're always welcome on the podcast. Always love having you.
Always a pleasure, man.
All right, cool. Well, guys, go ahead and check out our Instagram page at broklahomies.com. All right, .com. At Broklahomies. And then we're also on Twitter, on Facebook. I'm working on a website right now. There's a temporary view of it up, but it's nowhere near completion. That'll be up in the near future, and we will have podcasts over there. I think our podcasts on most platforms actually have ads in them. The ones on our website won't have. I don't think they'll have like audible ads in them. They'll probably just be like ads on like the side or something. You know, got to make money somehow.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You mind if I plug in my music here?
Dude, for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. All right, Broklahomies podcast listeners, I've been Nicholas Gathman. You can check out my band at bloodorangerenegades.com, or no, not .com, just at Blood Orange Renegades. We don't have a website just yet. Don't have a website just yet, but we are working on a really, really good record that we're planning to release later this year. We're pushing it back a little bit because, life gets in the way, but we're still working on the songs. And so just keep an eye out. We still have some posts that we're posting on our Instagram.
And are you on YouTube?
Yeah, we have a YouTube channel. It's just, Blood Orange Renegades.
Yep.
Everything's consistent. So you should be able to find it. The only thing that isn't consistent with everybody else, with all the other socials,
is your McDonald's snacking.
Is my McDonald's stacking. Exactly. It's not keto friendly. But our Facebook handle is at We Are the BOR instead of Blood Orange Renegades.
Yep.
I think whenever we were making that, Blood Orange Renegades was like too long or something. And so we chose We Are the BOR.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
It's got a nice rhyme to it too.
Cool, man.
All right. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, absolutely, bro. It was nice talking to you. You'll be on in the near future, like 100%.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
All right. See you guys.